Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. We have a coaching change, and not exactly the one I was hoping for, but nevertheless, at least a change is occurring. So we'll get into that and all things Titans, including this next matchup Monday night against the Miami Dolphins. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Ladies and gentlemen, 94 yards. Touchdown, Titans. He is the baddest man in the NFL, and he just took her to the house.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast.
Sick!
It's gonna be sick.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. I'm joined, as always, by my two counterparts, Jarett and Vin. We have a coaching change, guys. It's it's a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, it took kicker's leg getting fucking amputated for it to happen, and that's pretty embarrassing in itself. But nevertheless, Craig Aukerman is out as the special teams coordinator for the Titans. We'll find out who's going to be interim. Can't really seem to get much worse after what we saw on Sunday. So we'll find that information out as it comes in. But, I'm not going to sing hip, hip, hooray because this is the change that we're going to get. A lot more needs to happen, including the offensive and defensive coordinator, in my opinion. But I guess you can label it a step in the right direction. I'll let you two share your thoughts on it and what do you think it means for the future. Jarett?
I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, the icing on the cake was the snapping of the leg with Ryan Stonehouse. But with Craig Aukerman for the last couple of years now, we have kicking woes since Rob Baronis. I know he wasn't there with Rob Baronis, but we've had kicking woes the last 2-3 seasons now. And scheme-wise, like Vrabel was saying the whole time, scheme-wise with the special teams, I don't know if it's the guys in there. It's what he's scheming up. There hasn't been no trickery or anything like that. It's very basic with him. So with this new guy that we promoted, he's with the Giants for a while. He helped Graham Gano, I believe, hit like 36 in a row or something like that. Did you guys see that stat at all?
I didn't even know I didn't know it came out who we were picking.
Yeah, it was promoted within. His name's Tom something. That was my bad for not looking up his name correctly. But he has been in the league for a very long time. Most recently with the Giants, and like I said, he's worked with the Giants special teams and with Graham Gano at the time too. That he made 36 consecutive field goals, and they had great coverage. And statistically, the Giants were a pretty good special teams unit. So if this guy takes the job and runs with it, anything is better than Aukerman right now. But a little breaking news with special teams players. It's not going to be breaking news for tomorrow when the podcast drops, though. But via Jim Wyatt, one of our good friends on the show, the Titans just released Monty Rice. He supposedly tweeted, "Thank God." I don't know what that means. And he also liked a tweet. Another guy that couldn't wait to get released. Seems like a growing trend in Nashville. Seems like a coaching might be a little bit more of an issue. So in my opinion, that sounds
drop.
Mic drop. You're going to take it one way. I'm going to take it another way. It seems like this guy is very soft and can't take criticism, and he can't stay on the field with whatever personal issues he had going on in the summertime. He can't make a cut. He had Jack Gibbons, an unrestricted free agent, make the team and bump his spot because of his availability. Who knows what the real issue is over here? But if he's not a Vrabel guy and you're not tough-minded like a Derrick Henry, a Jeffery Simmons, a Taylor Lewan, a Ben Jones kind of guy, and I don't see Monty Rice ever being a guy like that for Vrabel. That's why, in my opinion, I think he was cut. He was kind of – I mean, he says, look at the tape and everything like that. What tape has he been on the field on defense, too?
Have you seen the video of Derrick Henry giving Mike Vrabel the eyeball on the sideline from 2 weeks ago?
But he also vouched for his job at that time. So, I mean, who knows if he was even looking at Vrabel, too?
Oh, Jarett, come on.
I know it looked like that angle, and everyone's calling me
that angle. His eyes followed him across the field. Oh, come on.
I know everyone's calling me a Mike Vrabel meat eater. On comments and everything like that, but you know what? Some of these guys may not cut it, and in my opinion, Monty Rice was probably. Do we
already have physical evidence that this guy has made the wrong decisions as far as picking players that should be playing? How about the fact that again, Will Levis was the best quarterback on our team since day one, and we still didn't let him fucking play. That's number one. Number two, we saw Tajay Spears. Here we go. 30 seconds in, and my blood's boiling. We saw Tajay Spears when he got the opportunity with Derrick Henry out. He looked great. He looked like a bell cow back. I never saw him really get carries before that. We saw what's his name at left tackle last year. Week in. Nobody gave a fuck to pick anyone but him. What was his name? I finally got it out of my head.
Dennis Daly?
Dennis Daly, yes. How many fucking weeks did we deal with him at left tackle when we could have had literally Mike Vrabel left tackle and would have been better? What was the excuse there?
No excuse there because we would try bringing people in, and that's what we had, and we're stuck with what we have right now. Like I said, I'm not getting into that. But going back to what you're saying about Tajay Spears, I know Vin wants to get a word in here too. Going back to Tajay Spears. Good. Tajay Spears, he outsnapped Derrick Henry in multiple games in the beginning of the season.
Vin, first of all, I don't want to hear it, Vin. The last 4 shows, you've had like 7 consecutive 7-minute freaking rants. So
Fake news. CNN.
I don't want to see you eyeballing like, okay.
Fake news. Relax, Cuomo. Fake news.
Check the tape, Sammy. Check the tape. I had a fucking stopwatch the other night when you had like a 9-minute, and it was great. It was great content.
It's great content.
You giving me eyeballs because I've been going for 3 minutes straight.
I didn't even say anything, guys.
It's ironic. You're back there. You're back there looking like fucking Ray Charles. Remember that scene in The Sopranos? Like, what do you got, an eyeball problem? Looking like fucking. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Glad I have your permission to speak on my own podcast. Thank you. Actually, thanks to the both of you, because now we're 7 minutes in and I'm yet to say a word. So, as far as everything goes with the special teams, I'm glad it happened. Hopefully, it's a sign of things to come. Hopefully, that move came from Vrabel, so he's showing a little bit of sense in the matter that he needs to put his foot down, not play favorites with his buddies from whoever he brings in. So who knows if that came down from Amy or Vrabel or group decision or Carthon, but I'm glad he's gone. It's unfortunate that Stonehouse will be out the rest of the year. But if I believe so, it was his non-kicking leg, right? It was his plant leg.
Yeah, plant leg.
It was a plant leg. So you'd rather be that leg than the kicking leg. That being said, it seems like there was no nerve issues, didn't hit any veins or anything like that. It was a clean break, so there's no axillary damage is what we like to say.
Shout out Vin's degree in physical therapy.
Exercise science. I'm not a physical therapist, couldn't go that route. I got a 4-year degree in 5.5 years. I was done with school by then, but I took a lot of those classes twice, so I did learn a few things. So it was a clean break, and he will be fine. As far as the Monty Rice thing, I'm surprised Jarett didn't bring up John Robinson. It seems like he's a popular scapegoat when it comes to there you go. When it comes to failed players on this roster, I think he came in behind the 8 ball really to begin with because he was overdrafted. I remember when we took him in the 3rd round, everyone on the panel, like Kuiper and all them, so they expected him to be a 5th, 6th round pick. We took him in the 3rd round. He couldn't stay healthy. He underperformed when he did. Could there be some validity to him saying thank God on Twitter? Sure. But guess what? I think this generation of players is very soft, very sensitive because of social media, because everyone has a voice, because they're seeing everything everyone says about them and whatnot. So I personally think this generation of athlete and this generation in general is a little softer. It's a little more sensitive. But if you add everything up, we've seen Jeffery Simmons look disgruntled in interviews. To Sal's point, you saw Henry give Vrabel the eyeball. You heard A.J. Brown say when we traded Byard to Philly that we do things differently here. You have Monty Rice tweeting this. So there is some validity to the assumption that there could be a locker room issue relating to the front office, to the coach. I still think Vrabel's seat is pretty hot. I think it's 50-50 as to whether or not he stays here. I think maybe Vrabel is in Miss Amy's in his ear saying, listen, if we want to keep you, we're going to have to make some moves at the end of the year. The first one was Craig Aukerman, getting rid of him. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come with the rest of the staff. My prediction is that I think Miss Amy likes Vrabel. I think Carthon likes Vrabel. I think they're going to give Vrabel an ultimatum and say, listen, we're revamping this whole staff, okay? We want you to be the head of the snake. We want you to bring this team into the future. But with that being said, we are going to revamp this whole staff. If that's okay with you, we would like you to stay. If not, thank you for what you have done. No hard feelings. It's just business. Move on. That's what I think that situation is going to look like.
That's what they did malarkey, no?
And I already think they did that conversation. That's why, they're on Twitter just like we are, especially Amy.
That could be a reason why. It could be a reason why Rossini tweeted that he will stay here. Maybe it's that good old boys club in the NFL ownership room that, or in their front office that, hey, we're going to revamp the staff. We want you to be the head of the snake. If you don't want it, then go ahead and leave. Thank you for what you've done. But if not, we'd love for you to be here and work with the new staff. Who knows? Vrabel seems like he's had an unwillingness to change in his past. Who knows if that'll change now? I also think it's contingent on a lot of things. What if the Ohio State job opens up? Or what if Texas A&M or some big program throws $100 million at him? What if the Patriots go after him if Belichick goes to, whoever, LA or wherever? So I think it's contingent on a lot of things, but to argue for both of your points, I would say Monty Rice is acting a little childish, a little immature, like this current brand of athlete seems to do. But I also think if you add up everything, that there could be some truth to the fact that there is some dissension within the Titans locker room. So, whether that's true or not, we will see as the season goes on and after the season ends. But until now, it's all speculation because I can make it sound good on both sides. You know what I mean? So
I agree. I agree what you're saying with there could be, some things going on in the locker room. And I 100% agree because if you go back a couple of weeks ago when Jeffery Simmons, I think it was when Teron Davenport asked him, how are you guys going to get this together? Why do you guys keep losing? What do you guys have to do?
We need to score more.
Guys need to start studying.
Yeah.
Guys need to be held accountable. I mean, all this stuff is Elijah Molden, like Mike Vrabel. I watched his press conference from yesterday. Show him off for one thing. He goes, it's one thing you get beat, but when you blow on coverage, like Molden did, maybe it's misassignments constantly. Maybe he's part of the problem. Monty Rice is probably part of the problem that he's not, giving full efforts. Christian Fulton, again, same guys that aren't bought in, like Jeffery Simmons said, we have to weed those guys out.
Here's the last thing I'll say about the topic, and we'll move on. I'll give credit to my dad for the second part of this, even though everybody knows this anyway. So I don't know why reiterating it again, and I probably said it prior too. First thing is, to the people who say this guy has no pull in this team, this guy doesn't really call the shots. Well, if he didn't call the shots, he would have been fired a calendar year ago, okay? No coach that doesn't have a lot of pull in an organization goes 4-15 and keeps their job, okay? How many fucking coaches have they gone through in Carolina? Okay, they might have less talent, and they got rid of Frank Reich because of their record. This guy has a lot of pull. This guy has a lot of say.
He's very respected in the NFL.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be. I'm telling you right now, he shouldn't be. He had 2 good years, 2 excellent years as a head coach, taking a team with a new quarterback to the AFC Championship game. And then the year that we had nobody and we're number 1 in the division or number 1 in the AFC and blew it both times. With all that being said, the part that I'll give my dad credit for, what has been the biggest issue with the Titans outside of injury for the past how many years now? Coaching as far as coordinators are concerned. Okay, the only times we got good coordinators, we couldn't even keep them. Dean P, Schwartz, we lost. These are the guys he picked. He picked Downing to be the OC. Then he had a horrible year, and he kept them another year. And we miraculously got that 1 seed in the AFC, which had nothing to do with him. And then he blew it after the bye. And we kept him again. And he fucked another season. Now it looks like Shane Bowen isn't as good as everybody thinks.
Before we move on, though, what not to cut you off, Sal, but what I don't like is, and it just kind of came to me right now as we're having this discussion, when you add it all up, no matter which way it goes, who's to blame, we're starting to look like, and I hate to use this term, a dysfunctional franchise.
Of course we are.
Which, it's something that we pulled ourselves out of the mud from 7-8 years ago when Miss Amy took over the team, when Bud Adams died, when we hired John Robinson and hired Vrabel. It seems like we pulled ourselves out of that mud from getting that term dysfunctional franchise away from us. It wasn't something they associated with us anymore. Now it seems like after a little bit of success, the last 5 or 6 years, we're back in that situation, which is the scary part because it can, if you don't get it right, when you start to become a dysfunctional franchise, you're just digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
The only reason we were respectable over the last half a decade is two guys,
Derrick
Henry and A.J. Brown. That is it. That is the reason why
Kevin Byard was
but yeah, that's fine. But
that defense was premier as well.
It was good, but if we didn't score, the defense would have been for nothing. Okay?
Yeah, we were the top scoring team in the league for almost 2 years.
Yes. So without them, like we're not doing anything. They're the reason why we weren't dysfunctional for as long as we were. Okay. I mean, it's just clear as day. We've never had an elite quarterback since Steve McNair. You can make an argument that he wasn't elite, and I think that's fair, but he was as good as we were going to get as Titan fans in the last 20 years. We've never had an elite quarterback. We've never had players defensively that you've seen over the past 10 years grow as an absolute stud defensive player besides Kevin Byard that our head coach has had a hand in. No, I'm talking about this.
Current?
Yeah. No, but I understand. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's
now,
go ahead.
Now, just to piggyback of what you guys are saying, because you guys are on the same page. I don't want to agree with you at all, because now when you guys were talking about when we had those good years and Mike Vrabel had, now when you're going into the draft and you're trying to build these things that I keep going back on all the time, those guys are older players. You have to replace those guys. Isaiah Wilson's. You have to start replacing guys. Not Christian Fulton. The other bum.
Caleb Farley.
Yeah, Caleb Farley, Treylon Burks. You're trying to replace with A.J. Brown. The replacements from these drafts that we had with John Robinson have not made any impacts. They have not been on the teams.
Jarett, Vrabel has a say in who we pick in the draft.
Somewhat. The scouts and John Robinson, that there's jobs involved too.
No, listen, if you're going to tell me that it wasn't at least close to like a 60-40 split between J-Rob and Vrabel as to who we picked in the NFL draft that Mike Vrabel was a part of, you're crazy, guys.
Well, we don't have that information.
No, I believe he's.
And two, you see all these head coaches like Josh McDaniels and the other guy from the Raiders. He wanted to move up for C.J. Stroud. McDaniels said, "No, we're sticking with Jimmy G." I mean, there's a lot of button heads, and that's what could have happened with John Robinson and Mike Vrabel back then when you're trying to build a roster and swinging and missing. That's why.
You think Josh McDaniels had the same pull as a head coach as Mike Vrabel? Come on.
Well, why did they not trade up? Why did the
because
GM say
McDaniels has never had success as a coach, so of course they're not going to give a fuck what he says.
Of head coach, yes, absolutely.
This guy, everyone claims is the best coach ever.
But when you try to build in a draft and you swing and miss 3 years in a row, when you're trying to replace those guys like Taylor Lewan, Roger Stafford, Ben Jones, and now you're stuck in purgatory with all those swings and misses and the free agents that you have signed, Andre Dillard, Dennis Daly, all swing and misses. That's why our team sucks right now. And we all have this sour taste.
Because we're not calling a timeout, Jarett, when there's a fucking player ready to kill our punter right in front of our own sideline.
That's another issue. I'm talking about the roster itself.
It's a big issue. Yeah, that we never use timeouts in the right time.
I think he's definitely.
We're running the ball on 3rd and 8 in Pittsburgh before the fucking halftime when we're down 7 and we're conceding a drive and kicking it. Those are things that good coaches don't do.
I think there's been too much turnover with the staff the last few years for Vrabel to be the only one to outlast a lot of these changes. He has to have some magnitude of power. It's got to be at least a 50-50 split.
We're going to see now.
I think there's no reason why no one a dominant type A personality, men of men, like personality like Mike Vrabel would not be able to just sit back and let everybody, pick his team. He has to have some sort of say in it.
I'm not saying he doesn't have any say at all.
Which might be kind of an issue because to Sal's point, how he brought up, the Pittsburghs and Baltimores. Look at someone like Harbaugh, who was with the Eagles for a while as their special teams coach. And then he got this job with Baltimore and he has never looked back. Now you would assume he's a special teams coach, so his forte might not be the X's and O's on offense, but he is a phenomenal motivator. He is a phenomenal players coach. And what I think that organization has done correctly is they told John Harbaugh he had to accept the fact that when it comes to the X's and O's on offense and the X's and O's on defense, he has to take a step back and let the front office pick those staff members out, which I think is a difference between someone like him and someone like Vrabel. I think Vrabel still likes having his hands in the cookie jar when it comes to offense, defense, special teams. He hasn't taken a step back and realized that his strength is, yes, he is a leader. He's a man of men. He's a motivator. But because he thinks he can do everything and pick his hands in the offense, the defense, special teams, instead of focusing on what he's good on and letting our front office hire the right coordinators, I think that's an issue that, hasn't been talked about enough.
I mean, he thinks he's in their league. He's not in their league. They're Super Bowl champion coaches. He's not.
Sal, before you guys, I want to ask you guys a question. Now, if you guys say that Mike Vrabel has so much of a hand, or had so, I'm not talking about this year.
He has to, at least.
I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about the years prior, last year, the year before that, and all the other stuff.
If you bring up AJ Brown again, I'm
not. I'm just listening. I'm going to bring you a scenario because it's the truth now. So now, there's that damn echo again. John Robinson gets fired midseason, right? What was the whole press conference with Amy Adams, Strunk, and Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel this past offseason when he was hired?
That they're all going to have a say.
What they all have to do is collaborate. To me, now to you guys, I don't know, but to me, that sounds like there was a collaboration issue with John Robinson and Mike Vrabel. That's why he got fired, because John Robinson had more of the say in what was going on. So now when Rand Carthon comes on, now I believe that Mike Vrabel had more of a say in this draft with Rand Carthon because they would be able to collaborate.
Then why the fuck didn't Will Levis start then?
Huh?
I think that was a money issue.
To get Will Levis.
I think Miss Amy stepped in and said, we're going to give him the start.
Let him develop a little bit. Don't start him right away.
We're going to pay him $35 million this year. Let's give him the start. Let Willis, let's let Levis develop a little bit.
And you got to think too, not to cut you off. And you got to think if they want to showcase Malik Willis and they want to trade him, and they have 3 quarterbacks, and they know what they have in Will Levis, they're going to say, "Hey, throw Malik Willis out there. Maybe someone will give a 4th for us." Ryan Tannehill's done. This is going to be Will Levis's years. So,
I mean, listen, the fact that it seems like there were some moves made this week, we could be at least a little happy about that. Hopefully, it's a sign of things to come. With less bullshit, less tolerance for it when it comes to getting your all-pro punter, getting his leg snapped in half, moving on from a draft pick that was clearly overvalued at the time and hasn't produced. Maybe it's a sign of things to come if you want to look for a silver lining. But going back to what I said, comparing Vrabel to someone like Harbaugh, I think Vrabel needs to realize his strengths and let the front office people do their job. And I think that's going to be the conversation at the end of the year. We're going to bring in our people. We want you to be a part of it. Either you're with it, and that's great, or you're not, and it's time to move on. But I think that's the difference between, someone like a Tomlin and a Harbaugh compared to like a Vrabel.
Here's the bottom line for me, guys. We've been searching for a high-level, high-energy, talented, motivated leader at quarterback for 25 fucking years. We finally found him. There's no debate about it. We found him. No, you don't have to cross your fingers. Okay?
Nah, we got him.
That DeAndre Hopkins touchdown was legit. Okay, that was a needle. That was a bow and arrow, and he hit the target. Okay, we got the guy. We cannot fuck this up. Okay, we cannot fuck this up. So if there's any gray areas here, we need to make them black and white. Because we're moving into a new stadium. We have a franchise quarterback. We are in a division that is as cutthroat as any division in football as it pertains to the level of play at quarterback. No more bullshit, okay? There's not enough success from Mike Vrabel as a head coach for us to continue to settle for this mediocrity. There's just not enough. If you're telling me that 1 year the quarterback change that went to the AFC Championship and we lost, and 1 year we had a bunch of injuries, got a first-round bye, and lost in historic fashion is enough to give this guy no blame for an absolutely horrific calendar year that we've just went through since that night in Green Bay, which was just almost a year ago to the day.
Just about, yeah.
Come on.
Not full blame, half blame. I'll give you that. But
if
like
it's
I said,
half blame, then he should be gone.
We have all, like you
How
said,
many chances?
we can't screw this up now. We have $100 million next season. I think they're going to do exactly what the whole entire NFL is doing, surrounding their young quarterback with us. We don't even have the first round. We don't have a 5th-year option on it. We're not carrying his huge contract either. So we can have really 3 really good years with Will Levis right now, and surrounding this guy with as much as talent as possible. Line, a defense, and receivers right now. We have to absolutely hit on everything that we get now.
Fine.
Going forward, Rand Carthon.
then Bowen has to go,
Absolutely.
and Tim Kelly has to go.
I was
I
an
think the whole
advocate.
staff has to go. Besides,
Everyone.
if
Strength and conditioning.
yeah, everybody.
Another guy I'm sure he had a hand in picking.
Hey, listen. I brought that up to Teron Davenport, I think, in the offseason. I asked him a question. I said, well, what's the deal with these injuries? I know it sounds silly, but is the training staff not up to snub? Does Vrabel not preach it enough? Taking care of yourselves? I mean, it's, for a long – and then you see players that have left our team stay healthy. Guys like A.J. Brown who were nicked up a few times a year. Guys like David Long on Miami has stayed healthy. But, I mean, listen, we can argue this till we're blue in the face. I mean, going forward, though, let's talk about what we think in the last few minutes before we wrap up. What we think we should do with Jeffery Simmons the rest of the year. He got an MRI. My guess is that it's probably a sprain. If it was more serious, they would have told us. But Vrabel said it could be a few week thing. Say he's out for 2 weeks, and we lose these next 2 games, and we're 4-10. Do we even bother bringing him back for 3 games with nothing to gain?
No, absolutely not. He shouldn't play again.
I agree.
Shouldn't play again for the rest of the year. Last thing I will say, I have to say, I know we're moving on. Last thing I will say about the Vrabel thing, and we can move on to Jeff Simmons. I'm sorry, Vin. I know you're looking around. You're going to giving me the Stevie Wonder eyes again. I know. But nobody, the Patriots have 2 wins on the season, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Nobody's leaving New England, whether they actually like Belichick or not. And I'm sure he has a personality where some players hate him. Nobody's leaving New England and then tweeting, thank God. Why? Because when it comes to respect, there's no one in this league that has more of it than Bill Belichick. You can give me that look.
No, I'm not going to give you the look. I'm trying to find, because I'm pretty sure somebody said it in recent years that when they left.
Recent years. This guy, it's every week somebody's like, thank God, we do things different. This, that, and the other thing. Come on.
It's the NFL soft nowadays, like Vince said. No,
well, now that Mike Vrabel is coach, it shouldn't be. His players shouldn't be soft. His players shouldn't be getting taunting penalties, and everything's falling apart. But okay, let's move on to Jeff Simmons. He shouldn't play the rest of the year. Jarett, go right ahead.
I mean, it's a paycheck, guys. I mean, even if he has 2-3 weeks and he wants to get down, he's still there a competitor. Would you want to be out there? I mean, you're getting paid to do what you do. If you're good to go, you're going to be good to go. So I do see him playing with the Houston Oilers jersey against the Texans and the Jaguars. I think they're going to sit out against the Dolphins and the Seahawks. Yeah, I think he's going to play against the Texans.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, who knows what the contract situation's like? Everyone's different. A lot of the times they take out insurances on your contract just in case you get hurt, and then you'll get paid a portion of it. But completely understandable to make that point that he could potentially he makes $24 billion a year now, something like that. Could be missing out on a couple million the last few weeks if he doesn't play. But if it was up to me, he wouldn't touch the field again. I said it would behoove us as an organization time and time again to finish this season probably 4-13, get one of these top 3 tackles, the one from Notre Dame, the one from Alabama, and the one from Penn State, or Brock Bowers. Marvin Harrison Jr. probably out of the cards, but
I don't think so. We're not going to win another game, then.
Yeah, probably not. But guess what? We're not going to finish ahead of the Panthers, or we're not going to finish ahead of or worse than the Patriots. They're going to have probably the 2nd pick. Hopefully, maybe the Giants can keep winning, and we could sneak in.
Tyrod Taylor's getting healthy.
And
we don't need him. We want
Arizona is only one game behind us as well. If they win 4 games, we could take their spot. Who knows? Anything could happen, but to fall in that 2nd pick, it'd be a no-brainer to take Marvin Harrison Jr. offensive line aside.
God. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Will Levis.
Let's not drive ourselves crazy over that. That's neither here nor there.
I'm also sold on Brock Bowers, by the way. I did watch him.
Yes. Well, we told you it was going to happen.
We're right now at Rome right now. And Malik Neighbors has better numbers. I tweeted it yesterday. Malik Neighbors has better numbers than Marvin Harrison Jr.
I would love for us
1,500 yards.
No more Maliks.
To pull finally he admits it. I would love for us to pull a Texans move of last year where we get, one of those linemen, let's say at 5.
Yeah, move right back up.
And then move right back up and go get fucking Malik Neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yep, sign me up.
Or Keon Coleman in the middle of the first round, something like that.
We don't have that much draft capital this year.
Hey, but if you want to trade
if
you want to trade picks in the future for it, then
who cares?
I'm with it. I've always said
on 80% of our first round picks anyway.
Just like Les Snead said with the Rams.
Let's rob Peter to pay Paul. How about
that?
Fuck
them picks, man.
You know, like I would have been. That's an old one too. What team is Malik Neighbors play for? I don't even know.
LSU. We're gonna get a text message at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
I'm in on Neighbors.
Yeah,
we'll wake watch his highlights on the way to work.
Yeah, there you go. We'll wake up to that one at 3:07 as I take a pic.
What number does he wear?
I'm not sure.
I think 14,
Let me find out. It's 11.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he is good though. He is good. He's a little undersized. I think he's only about 6 foot, 190 maybe. But he's.
He wears number 8.
Ooh, well.
Oh man, Will Levis. That's the thing though. I think I'm getting the Oiler Levis for Christmas. I will be. Hopefully they run that special where if he changes his number, I can send it back and they'll give me. Don't they usually do that?
He ain't changing his number.
I think he might, man.
Why?
Especially the way this year's going. He's gonna be like, let's start fresh. New offense coordinator, maybe new coach.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is.
All right, we gotta. Let's wrap up for tonight, guys. We're gonna be back for the Miami. It'll be probably an obituary. We'll be setting that up on Thursday. What we're gonna do about that? Make sure
all you listeners bring your payrolls and your checkbooks because we're gonna put something together because we're about to bet everything on overs of Tyreek Hill, man. I'm telling you right now.
The line's only 14 right now, guys.
Pissed out.
It's only 14 right now, guys. If I'm you,
he needs 510 yards too for 2,000 yards. He's easily getting 160 this Monday night.
If I'm you, I'm taking another mortgage out. I'm moving the line to 20.5, and I'm laying it all on the Dolphins. We're going to lose by 3 touchdowns.
Quick question before we get off. If Tyreek Hill reaches 2,000 yards, is he the MVP of the league? Yes or no?
No. I'm gonna say no because it's the quarterback-driven league, and Derrick Henry should have won it when Aaron Rodgers won MVP.
If you're not a quarterback, you have to do something that has never been done before. If he gets to 2,000, especially without that extra game, if he gets to 2,000 before Calvin Johnson came close. If it I'm all fucked up. See, I'm all stuttering and shit now. If you do something that's never been done before at the position, I think you deserve it. And if he gets 2,000, especially before the last week of the season where it's still like a 16-game schedule, if he gets it before 16 games or at 16 games, he deserves it more than most. You cannot give a quarterback who has an average year for a good quarterback like Dak, who's going to go 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. You can't give him the MVP over a wide receiver who has reached 2,000 yards for the first time in his career, especially at his size. Mic drop. Shout out Tyreek Hill. I have an MVP bet on him. That's why I wanted to hit so bad.
I mean, listen, I completely agree, but you got it. You know, it's a quarterback-driven league, and I was so pissed.
If Brock Purdy
not getting the MVP, he missed like 3 games.
Dude,
I was 3 games.
I was so pissed. I could have had Derrick Henry for $8,000 when he had 2,000-yard rushing.
Listen, if doing something that's never been done is all it takes to win MVP, then you might want to consider Mike Vrabel for MVP because I don't think anyone's ever kept their job after going 4-15 in a calendar year as an NFL coach. So with all that being said, let's see who wins it. But I wouldn't mind seeing Tyreek Hill win. He's a dog, man.
Yeah,
I always kind of always question his desire, like his willing. It doesn't seem like he ever gives a shit, but he's just so talented that it doesn't matter. And that would always kind of bother me. It just seems like football is just kind of a hobby to him.
Yeah, it's so easy that he just you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
guess what? You've seen clips of him in the offseason. You know he works out. He just has he just has fun with it. He enjoys it. And I mean, listen, if I could run like that, I probably might act like that a little bit too. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a dog, man. He's gonna have at least 125 against us, but I think 150 is.
He might hit 2,000 on Thursday night.
He might, and you know,
Monday night.
The Titans love giving up historical. You know, if whenever you're in a drought or you're close to a record, play the Tennessee Titans. It's a done deal. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be fun. And it should be comical to watch. We'll dive into it more on Thursday, but we're going to wrap up tonight, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're going up with our subs. We appreciate that so much. That's why we're so happy to be able to give you guys content each and every couple days during the week. So keep doing your best to share the show. Thumbs up it, comment it, even if you think I'm a giant asshole. I know there's plenty of you that watch this just to hear the dumb things you think I have to say. That's fine and good. Eyes are eyes at the end of the day. So hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their night. Great rest of your day and week, and we will catch you on the flip. So tighten up. Sammy, send me out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.